Good morning, everyone. 17 minutes after the hour. Welcome to the Sunrise Show. News Radio 880 KCMX. I'm Craig Froenig, your host, and I'm pleased to have in the studio Alan Allen. He's running for governor on the Republican ticket for and his website, allenalley.com. And he had a governor's forum last night. He was good enough to stay over and be in the studio this morning. Thank you, Alan, for coming in.
Thanks for having me. Good morning, Medford.
Exactly right. And with the forum last night, decent turnout, folks asking good questions.
Yeah, it was 50 or 60 folks, moderated by Perry Atkinson. He did a great job. And I think we got a lot of issues out. It was very informative. It was very factual. It was a lot different than what you see on some of the national stage where people are just screaming at each other about stuff that doesn't make sense to you. It was all about problems and issues, and then our proposals to fix them. It was a very good forum.
You know, Alan, we talked just before this, coming on the show, and you mentioned something very poignant. And ladies and gentlemen, you've got to lean in and listen to this related to the stats. You know, I called the legislature out on this abuse of power. The Democrats, they have a Democrat-run Senate, they have a Democrat majority in the House, and then they have a Democrat governor. It is clear they can push through anything they want. They took the national stage and went right with it, related to minimum wage, coal-fired power plants, all of it. And you're going, okay, related to winning, Alan, you talk about the numbers here, because you said 90% of Republicans.
Yeah, so the way it works, and this is why the Democrats run this hyper-partisan race, in order to win, the Democrats need to hold the Democrats at 95%, split the independents and non-affiliateds, and they don't need a single Republican vote. So when they run statewide, they run this highly partisan, highly fractured race, and they legislate that way too. There's only 38% of the state that's registered as Democrats. I don't think they even represent the 38% that are registered as Democrats. I think there's a lot of Democrats here in Medford that roll their eyes at what they're doing in Salem, because frankly, Salem has abandoned us. They're not representing the state of Oregon.
I have said it over and over. We are on our own. We are not getting represented. And then any kind of demographic, we're getting kicked to the curb. Alan, we've got a call. Let's grab that real quick. Good morning. You're live on the Sunrise Show. Who's this?
Hey, Craig, David here.
Yes, sir. What's on your mind? You have a question for Alan Alley.
Yeah, I do. It's the same question I asked Dennis Richardson, I think it was 4 years ago, and his answer made me abstain from the Oregon governor's election. I'll ask him the same question. A local judge here wants to retire before their term is over. We can't say anything about it. They're allowed to retire. I asked Dennis Richardson, I said, will this judge will judges be retiring with the knowledge that you are going to pick from this pool of people in this network of attorneys, or however they do it? Basically, the question is, does that ring of association still exist, and would it exist under Governor Alley, where the judges, it's already a closed system, and the judge knows the governor's going to appoint the person that should remain in that seat? Because it seems like the judges retire early before their terms are over, with the understanding that they're doing that in association with the governor and their replacement.
Right. So the continuing of the political agenda. Yeah, David. Great. Thanks for your question. I appreciate it.
Right. So I think what would happen if I was elected governor, basically no judges would retire, because they've been all appointed by Democrats. Right. We have 30 years of Democrats in power. They're not going to let a Republican pick their replacement, so they wouldn't retire. We would have a massive logjam of judges that won't retire. But if they did retire, I'd try to pick people from the outside, people with a fresh perspective, people that have a new vision and a new energy and want to get some things done, because the current system is not working. Salem is failing you, and that's Salem and all of the judges. The entire network is failing you right now.
Yeah, good answer. And we just had David Orr on earlier, and the whole appointment process, you expect it to be different. You expect to be above the law, but the political agenda is exactly. It is seeping into everything. All right, so talk again about these numbers. I hope everyone was listening, because Alan, you mentioned for a Republican to win, you've got to win 90% of the Republican vote, 50 to 55% of the independent, and 15% of the Democrats.
You do. So you actually have to do that. And so when I ran in 2008 for state treasurer, first-time candidate, I got more votes in Multnomah County than any Republican other than Ronald Reagan. I got over 103,000 votes. That's more than Chris Dudley got. It's more than Gordon Smith ever got. And it's because I'm very well known up there. And the second thing is that I worked it like I was running for county commissioner. I'd go to street fairs and I'd hand out business cards and I'd knock on doors. And building a reputation is what we need, because we have to get over 30% in Multnomah County, or the votes here can't make up that difference. But if we do that, you can make it up. I'll give you an example. In 2008, I won Washington County and Clackamas County combined by 5,000 votes, right? 500,000 votes. The net differential was 5,000 votes. I won Baker County by 5,000 votes, all the way out in Baker, right? And what that means is these rural counties are just as important as Washington and Clackamas combined, because everybody cancels each other out. So can we drive an additional 500 votes here or an additional 1,000 votes here through turnout? Absolutely, especially in a year where people are excited and they're expressing their frustration in the process. They're getting registered. They've got to vote. If you can do that, I'll take care of Multnomah County. I absolutely will. I have in the past. But I need you to get out and vote. I need you to get motivated.
Well, and I'll tell you, Alan, Southern Oregon has been kicked to the curb so many times related to the demographic and the northern states. I mean, when you talk about the medical marijuana card, you're talking about Measure 91, you talk about all these real divisive issues, it seems like the issues, they win. You know, the demographic up there, no matter what, all the rural counties and the values, the family values and everything else, it's very difficult. Alan, we've got another call coming in. Let's grab it. Good morning. You're live on the Sunrise Show. Do you have a question for Alan Alley?
I sure do, Craig. This is Ron Smith.
Yes, sir.
Hey, under your governorship, Mr. Alley, would you fight for the rural counties in Oregon to produce natural resources like we always have? You got to fight the feds. Would you help us?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know,
thank you.
Some people might not remember this, but I actually walked all the way across the state of Oregon. I started in Baker City and walked to Portland. It took 35 days. It's 400 miles. And the reason I did it was to slow down and understand issues in rural communities. I didn't walk in Medford, but I got to walk with people, and we'd walk for 5 hours a day. And people would come out and they'd walk with me, and in the first hour they were nice. In the second hour they'd start to get frustrated. In the third hour they'd just completely blow their stack. I mean, completely blow their stack. In the fourth hour they go, "Why are you still here?" And I said, "Well, I'm walking. I can't go anywhere, right?" And in the fifth hour they go, "Why don't you come over and have dinner tonight?
Oh, very good.
I'd like to introduce you to my family."
Ron, did you have anything else for Alan?
No, I'm
okay.
excited.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
About him being our governor.
Good.
Absolutely.
All right, excellent. Thank you, sir. I appreciate the call.
All right.
No, that's it. And you know, Alan, we've got a break coming up, but this is amazing related to Harney County, what's going on in Malheur County. And I've been asking, don't we have as a state sovereign rights? And where has the governor been? And I'll tell you, Oregonians aren't used to having a governor fight for sovereign rights. They're kind of just giving in on it. And I'm thinking enough is enough.
Well, and we can't do it alone. What it means is the governor has to get with the other Western states that are in the same position that we are, because it's so easy for a New York senator to take a vote that has nothing to do with New York, and it's a vote against Oregon, but it gets them sympathy from special environmental groups and lobbyists and that kind of stuff. So we have to join together as Western states and go back to D.C. and fight this. Absolutely.
Exactly. We've got candidate for governor for the state of Oregon on the Republican side, Alan Alley, in with us this morning. His website is alanalley.com. Check it out. We'll be back. We got more on the Sunrise Show coming after this quick break. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. 35 minutes after the hour. Sunrise with Craig on News Radio 880 KCMX. We're continuing with Alan Alley. He's running for governor for the state of Oregon, one of 4 candidates on the Republican ticket. And Alan, it's great to have you in this morning. It's a great dialogue. We're talking about protecting lands. We're talking about, and the news, quite frankly, ladies and gentlemen, here are the numbers. This is what you need to take away from this. Alan said it. He said we need to get 90% of the Republican vote, 50 to 55% of the independent vote, but 15% of the Democrat vote in order to win. And I asked you, and you talked about Multnomah County, and you said you've been there, done that before. You garnered up over 100,000 votes.
Yeah, I've received in the treasurer's race, which is down ballot race. I received over 100,000 votes in Multnomah County. That's more votes in Multnomah County than any Republican other than Ronald Reagan. That's more than Chris Dudley got. It's more than Gordon Smith ever got. So we can do what we need to do in the North Willamette Valley. I can do that. My candidacy can do that. We need turnout in the rest of the state. And the turnout in the rest of the state has to be born out of, I think you said, a righteous anger.
It is.
Right? You have the right to be angry. Salem is failing you. The partisan politics of Salem, where they're passing legislation that doesn't represent 38% of the people, which is the Democrats, it represents a tiny fraction of that. And you deserve to say, no, I'm not going to stand for this anymore. We are not going to allow this to happen. Turn out and vote. Because if you turn out and vote and we do our job in the North Willamette Valley, we can have a Republican governor for the first time in 30 years.
Well, and it was absolute abuse of power in the Oregon legislature. They did not address budget issues in that 33-day session like they were supposed to do under law. And I talked time and time again with the legislators up there, both in the House and the Senate, and they were just getting shellacked for all intents and purposes, and it was a political agenda that was pushing down from the national stage, and it's discouraging. I mean, Oregonians are just getting hammered, and then you get into the rural county, and the southwestern region in timber. You know this: the growth of the forest, the timber grows 1.2 billion board feet a year, and add that 2 years, and yet per year, I think we're harvesting between 200,000 and 300,000.
Right.
It's just insanity. And I asked the people of Jackson County in Southern Oregon, I say, when is enough enough? And if we were a timber region and we grow the best Doug fir and ponderosa pine in the world, why are we not harvesting that in a responsible, sustainable fashion instead of just shutting it all out? There's more monuments coming. The president is now nationalizing the state of Oregon.
Timber is the greenest building product you could ever ask for. I mean, it is green. That's fundamentally what a tree is. I was at the Sierra Club and we did a debate, and I said I'm a technology guy, and I heard about this thing that you put out in an area. It collects rainwater. It's solar powered. It was a device that somebody built. Solar powered. It sucks air in one side, and out the other side comes this continuous stream of dense fibrous material that you can cut, you can laminate it, you can make building products out of it, and the only byproduct of this thing is oxygen. And they said, that's amazing. I said, that's a tree, right?
Exactly.
That's what they do, right? They're little manufacturing things that are completely green. Now, one thing I've got to talk about before I get off, IP 28. Initiative Petition 28. What's coming down the path is they've created a giant fiscal hole, and they're going to try to fill it with a sales tax. Now, they're not
the gross receipts sales tax, the 1.5?
Yeah, the gross. So they call it a tax on sales, right? And expect you to be too stupid to not figure out that a tax on sales is a sales tax. And it's the worst kind of sales tax, because when Ford sells a truck to their dealership, it's 2.5%. When the dealership sells it to you, it's 2.5%. That's 5%. Ford's not going to pay it. The dealer's not going to pay it. You're going to pay it. Not only that, but it's a sales tax on food. It's a sales tax on energy, on your electric bill. It's a sales tax on pharmaceuticals. When you get your prescription filled, you're going to pay that sales tax on that. It's the most regressive kind of tax. The people that can least afford it are going to bear the greatest burden. It's the largest tax increase in the history of the state. Kate Brown won't take a position on it. The leader of the state won't take a position. This is wrong. Vote against it. Vote for me in the primary, and I will fight this to the death in the general election.
It's called IP 28.
Initiative Petition 28. It's a sales tax. They won't call it that, but it's a sales tax.
And here's the thing. The agenda is coming. It'll start in the legislature. And what they didn't push through this last session, they're revving up and gearing up to push through this next session.
Absolutely.
Wow, Alan. Well, you've got a busy time between now and the 17th. 19 days, ladies and gentlemen, until the May 17th primary, and 194 days until we the people, I'm calling it the American Voter Countdown, 194 days until we the people choose a new American president. Alan, thank you so much for coming in. You mentioned you had a wonderful insert in the Mail Tribune.
Yes, in the Mail Tribune, and also the Ashland paper.
Yeah, it's a full 4-page insert, talks about what you're doing, alanalley.com and everything else. When did this go? Do we know when?
I think it was last week.
Okay, good.
Yep.
Well, we'll look
it's
for
in
that.
the past few days, but you'll learn more about me than you ever wanted to know.
Fantastic. Alan, well, thank you so much for
thanks.
coming in.
Good morning, Medford.
We'll be staying on top of everything else. So, good deal. We got to get to a break, and then we'll be back more on the Sunrise Show. We just finished up with Alan Alley running for governor for the state of Oregon. His website, alanalley.com. We'll post a picture up on our Facebook page, so find us there, and we'll be right back. More on the Sunrise Show. Our website, kcmxam.com. Beautiful day out today, 50 degrees, going to be 60 today. Wow. I don't know, ladies and gentlemen. I tell you, we got to do something. When is enough enough? When are you going to do what you need to do? And you need to be filling out your ballot, studying the voter's pamphlet. We're going to be discussing it all the way between now and the 17th. So stay tuned. News Radio 880 KCMX. We'll be right back.